Welcome back to the Curious Yapper. I'm Madison, your host and favorite yapper, and I am still on the search to see if living outside your comfort zone, as people say, really does pay off, and I'm still on the search for community. So this is a recap of what happened this week to get me closer to those goals in the journey. So on last Sunday was Easter. I got to lots of pictures from my family. My niece had her first little Easter egg hunt, so that was really cute. And it was the first time I wasn't in Texas at a family thing for a holiday. I was okay with that. Easter is not my epitome of holiday. So it was great to be included with photos after from family and different not to be there. And then Monday, it is starting to get lighter earlier here and stay lighter darker as we approach the summer solstice. And from our parking lot, I was able to see I took pictures. I was able to see Mount Hood with little sunrise in the morning. And each morning this week when I got to see that, because it was clear enough, it just really filled my cup. I'm still wondering how long my affinity for Mount Hood will last. I think it'll be a really long time. It will always hold a special place in my heart because we moved here and Mount Hood was the first place outside of Texas that we're calling home. So anyways, the morning sunrises with Mount Hood in the background have been wonderful, and I really enjoyed that. Then Evan and I went on a couple walks this week, and I don't know about you guys, but something I learned this week was that the yellow dandelions turn into the white dandelions. I'm very trusting of Evan, and he could pretty much convince me of lots of facts. He's a really intelligent person. He knows a lot of things I don't. So when he tells me different things, he tries to joke around with me. So I thought he was lying about this whole dandelion thing. And I feel like everybody else in the world knew that the yellow dandelions, the little weed, turns into that same thing. That yellow flower turns into the white dandelion thing. I could not believe it. I thought he was lying. He showed me videos and I was like, did you AI the videos? Nope. So I don't know what day of school I missed for that or what day of life I missed for that, but what's something you found out later in life that you probably should have known before? Because mine was dandelions, so that was quite funny. Funny? I don't know. That was mind-blowing to me this week. I couldn't believe yellow dandelions. They bloom yellow and then they're like shriveled and then they turn into the white. So baffling to me. Then this week, I also was brave multiple times, again, trying to seek community out. And so my brother-in-law, my Bill, he found a board game event in Portland and shared that with me. And so I added it to my calendar and I went this week. I was like, we can do it. Again, my brain started lying to me and I was feeling anxious and nervous about things being awkward. And turns out things can be awkward. So anyways, my brain was lying to me, and then this one was in Portland, so I had to drive further. And so I'm just like vibing out. The sun was out, my sunroof was open, listening to music on my way down there. That was good. And then I got to the parking lot and I was like, ooh, all the feelings are starting to happen. Am I even in the right place? Suddenly when you're at something new, maybe the GPS is lying to me. Maybe I got the day wrong, all those silly things. And anyways, I saw a guy carrying a game in and I was like, I'm in the right spot. So I kind of followed him in, and then I always equated larger events with better. And I don't think that's the vibe. So anyways, I walked in, this guy that was holding his board game was kind of a host. And so I was like, hi, it's my first time here. He's like, oh, well, welcome. And on previous times talking on the episodes, I told you guys that game board people, I wasn't sure how it would go, if they'd be able to socialize or whatever. He greets me. He's like, yeah, so like everyone's just like playing games. And I was like, yeah, I see that. This is all in my head. Yeah, I see that, but how do I know if I can join them playing the games, and how do I know if they'll invite me? So I was just like, just kind of, again, it's that like first day of school awkwardness that you're just like, ugh. I don't like it. I do not like it. I don't like feeling odd. I don't like feeling not included. Not a fan. Anyways, eventually I found these 2 tables, and these people are calling, oh yeah, these 2 board games are player action games. And I'm like, what's a player action? Aren't we all players and aren't I doing things that would be called action? No, apparently there's categories for games. Had no idea. I'm not that much of a gamer. And anyways, they're like, yeah, these are player action. I'm like, cool, you got a spot. And so then there were 2 tables, and then I ended up joining one table, cool, said hi. Such an awkward start. And then it was this rock band something game, so complicated, so many rules. Anyways, I'm new, there's 2 other people, they knew each other, they're waiting for their friend. And then another new person walks in, and I'm like, hey. And they're like, hey, I'm new. And I was like, me too. And by this time, the like kind of host guy sat down at this table, and now this board game is full with me, the host guy, the 2 people who know each other, and they're waiting on their friend. And so like it's full. And the host guy's like, oh, well, welcome. Yeah, just join the table. How do you just join a table when no one's inviting you to the tables? And I don't know how this freaking works. So this new guy's just standing there with his games just like I was about 5 minutes ago. And then the guy that's kind of a host was like, yeah, this game's full, but if you really want the spot, I'll let you have it. Let him have it. Hello? What? And then the new person was just like, and they said again, yeah, this one's full, but if you want my spot, happy to give you my spot. And then I said, yeah, he's new. How about you let him have that spot? Hello? Where the social etiquette, the help to get people plugged in and included, not the vibe. They need a whole person dedicated to doing that and plugging people in at these board game things, because it is so awkward if it's bunches of tables. Anyways, so we play this game, kind of complicated. I asked the new guy what he had brought, and he said Ticket to Ride. And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually love Ticket to Ride. Anyways, it takes us like 2 hours or something to play this game. Whatever, finally figure it out, and then it's time to go. I had brought Tapple, which I found from TikTok, and it's just fun. It's a interactive war game. And so before I left, after we were done with that rock and roll game, I was like, hey, do you want to play a couple rounds of Tapple, and then I'm gonna head out. So I got it out, we played it a little bit, and then I was like, hey, awesome, thanks for playing the games, and goodbye. So I'm walking out, and then the lady that was at the table that I was playing at, she followed me out. She's like, hey, Madison, how are you adjusting? And I was like, well, part of me adjusting is trying to find community, and that's what tonight kind of was. So then we exchanged numbers, and she's like, hey, I found other events on the Meetup app. And I was like, okay. And as she delayed my leaving, the new guy left too. And I was a couple paces behind him, saw him out in the parking lot. I was like, hey, how did you think it went? He's like, well, this was my first time going to a board game thing in general and going to an event on Meetup. And I said, yeah, kind of awkward. And he's like, yeah, kind of awkward. And I said, do you think you'll come back? And he's like, I don't know. Do you think you'll come back? And I said, I would definitely come back if I knew that you were coming and we could start our own table. We could play Ticket to Ride, and we could invite all the new people to our table, because it was awkward to find it. And he's like, yes, it was awkward. So then I was like, do you want to exchange like social media or phone number? I knew he had a girlfriend, and I'm not trying to spit game, my guy. You know, I'm just trying to find a friend and try to coordinate schedules so we can play a game together. Anyways, he wanted to like connect on the Meetup app. I hadn't downloaded the Meetup app. I hadn't had a login for the Meetup app, and I was like, okay. So awkwardly in the parking lot, trying to find him on Meetup and make a thing, and just like, can we just connect on socials? We already have. But anyways, I understand that he wanted to do it on there. We'll see if I reach out to him, if he reaches out to me to go to a board game event. But it was good for me to go, and I was around people. Did I make connections that night? No, I don't think so. So how are we defining success? I don't know. I think it's partial success because I went and I was out of my comfort zone, as they say, and I don't know. So success, question mark, TBD. That was Tuesday. And then the next day I reached out to another work person I had met at the snack station, and emailed her and I was like, hey, nice to meet you. If you want to do lunch, I would love to grab lunch with you. I normally eat at this time. And then she didn't answer me for a couple days and I was like, oh, okay, am I being ghosted? Wasn't sure. Anyways, turns out she was sick, and then she emailed me back. She's like, yes, let's do it this week. And so we had planned for lunch later in the week. On Wednesday though, it ended up working out. She was down there, I was down there without planning the day. And so we got to have lunch, and that was just delightful. And we were both relating on trying to find community at work. She also moved here back in February, so she's not from the state, not from the area. I'm not either. So we bonded on that, and it was really great. And I enjoyed that Wednesday lunch with her. And then later that evening, Evan and I have been really watching Yellowstone, so I'm sure we watched some of that, and then also spent some time on the patio. And the patio that I previously had was one of my like Madison safe places. So I am in the process of making this new space my Madison safe place. So we got to spend some time on the patio, and that was wonderful. And then on Thursday, we had our planned lunch, me and the work colleague. So that was fun. Got to chit chat and learned that she liked books and games. And I was like, oh, well, I found some events on Facebook. Are you interested? Do you want to join? We ended up connecting on Facebook. And so we'll see. We'll see if any events, I'm going to sneeze. I'm not editing that. So fun to connect on different interests we have. And then that night I went to one of my new colleagues' houses afterwards, and we did crafting, and so that was fun. My sister had shared that she had recently gotten into diamond painting. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try diamond painting. And I had actually reached out to this colleague, and I was like, I know she loves crafts. I was like, hey, have you ever done diamond painting? She said, no, I haven't. I was like, do you want to try it sometime? She's like, sure. So that's how we said it. So it was me initiating. So like initiate things, like that's okay. And it ended up being lovely. Got to diamond paint some. I got like one of the colors done. And now I'm kind of hooked on that. And I think it's right now just a little hyperfixation, but I have been enjoying doing that. So that was Thursday. Got to have the craft time with the colleague and learn some diamond painting. Then Friday we had a team lunch where we went to Shake Shack, and I had them one other time in Texas, and I was like, man, I thought it was pretty good this time. And I wasn't expecting the cheese fries. They do like a cheese sauce. I wasn't expecting that to be like cheese fries like I have in my head. So it was good this time. I enjoyed it. It was fun to have the team lunch, to talk with people at lunch. I really enjoyed that. I do genuinely enjoy learning more about people and just talking and chit-chatting and listening. I love to do that too. So that was fun. Also, during that lunch, they were talking about, Lewis and Clark, because Lewis and Clark and the history of the West, very integral. And they were talking about history, and then I asked them something about the flag. I was like, you guys they have a state flag. I was like, do you have a pledge? And they're like, a pledge? I was like, yeah, do you have a state pledge? And they're like, huh? And I said, did you not have to say the pledge to Washington as a state every single day? And they're like, what? So I told them the Texas pledge, and they're like, oh my gosh, things make sense. And I agree. Texas makes the kids say the Pledge of Allegiance and the pledge to Texas every single day. That is baffling. Anyways, so shared that there was a Texas pledge. I recited it for them. Turns out that's just a Texas thing. Maybe it's more of the South thing. I don't know who I was pledging my allegiance to, but that was a little weird. Then got home Friday, and I had ordered some things for the guest room, and Evan and I built the frame for the guest bed. We were nailing it, which was great. And then I think I probably did some more diamond art, diamond painting. And then I had talked myself up. I found another event. I was like, woo, I'm going to go to this game board thing. It wasn't in Portland. It was still on the Washington side. It's like, maybe the secret sauce was that I shouldn't go into the Portland side of things. Anyways, went to this thing. I was pumped about it. I was like, ooh, I had even invited that work friend, and she was maybe considering going. And anyways, I went in. Big fail. Again, I don't think the bigger events are good. I don't think bigger events are conducive for actual conversation and community. Kind of seems like in bigger groups, people are already clicked up, which does not feel good. So I was already getting nervous on my way there, but I was like, no, we're going to do it, Madison. You promised yourself we can do this. So I walked in. It was at a public like gaming cafe. I don't know. It's all a blur, honestly. So I walked in, literally no open seats. People are just at tables. And I did a loop around trying to see if there was maybe a way I could squeeze into somewhere. Just holding my little games again, like a kid, first day of school, and just walked around, did one loop. No one really looked up at me, acknowledged me. Probably, I'd say 20, 30 people there, bunch of different people. And I walked out of there, got in my car, felt like crying, felt rejected, felt like a huge fail. And it did not feel good. And so then I texted the work lady I invited and I said, hey, it's not the environment for me tonight. I would go again if I was going with a buddy, but to go in by myself, it was not the environment. It was not the environment. So I don't really know how I make that better. I don't know how long my confidence or anxiety would allow me to just be off to the side in the corner holding my little bag of games. So anyways, I got out of there real quick, felt like a failure, was almost in tears, texted Evan, I said, that was not it, I'm coming home. And I said that I did not like. Anyways, to save the evening for myself so that I still felt good, I stopped on my way home, got some gas from Costco, then I went on a little walk by myself and listened to some podcasts, and I always love doing that. So that was good. Still, that event and going did not sit well. Then got to spend time with Evan and came home, safe place. So it ended up being okay. Still not, I'm working on how to deal with uncomfy feelings, and that was uncomfy for sure. So kind of a fail, but wanted to, share that's not always success. That Portland game thing was not a success. Well, maybe it was. Depends what your definition of success is. And then Friday was, I would label that as a fail for sure. So anyways, we win some, we lose some, we're awkward at some, for sure. Anyways, then Saturday was glorious. I had found a hike on TikTok, and Evan and I were planning to go on a hike this weekend and had it saved, ready in the morning, ready to go early and bright, and it looked like it might be raining some. I was like, what a bummer. Anyways, we get there, and I think TikTok pushed it to me because I was looking at wildflower hikes, and just absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. There were yellow flowers, violet flowers, purple flowers, orange flowers, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. And Evan and I are going up the hill. Honestly, it was more elevation than I was mentally expecting. I thought it was just going to be an easy stroll frolic through the flowers. It was not easy stroll frolic through the flowers. And when I was starting to get like on the way up the hill, whatever the mountain, it's not a mountain, but the hill, all of a sudden we turn a corner and I just see Mount Hood. Oh my gosh, I said, heaven! And all of a sudden I've got the adrenaline, I've got the energy, I am pumped. I could not believe, my heart was just like, just those moments where you're just so content and just awed by the beauty of Mother Earth. So just absolutely gorgeous. We're taking pictures, typical people, photos everywhere. And it was just the perfect hike. Loved it. On our way back after doing the hike, we stopped at a little bakery and I got a cinnamon roll. And so that was fun as well. But it was just absolutely gorgeous and doesn't even look real. And it's so funny that all of the things that I'm doing now and seeing now in nature and all the flowers, I'm just like, I want people here now. I want people to visit me now because it's beautiful now. Like if they visit me in a couple weeks, like it might not be here. If they visit me in a couple months, it might not be here. So I don't know about you guys, but anytime I'm really excited about something or really love something, I just want to share it. That goes for even like food and stuff with new stuff. Yesterday, my cinnamon roll was like, Evan, do you want to try something? He's like, I'm okay. I'm like, no, please try it, please. And so I'm just so awed by, I'm so in awe of all the beauty here. I just want everyone to see it, experience it. So I'm like, come, please come. Anyways, so it was just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I'm hoping that the flowers stay so I can go on a hike again. I'm hoping that the skies are clear so I can just relish in that. So absolutely beautiful on the Saturday hike. And then today, woke up, did some reading on the couch, did some diamond painting, and then I went to a book club. It's called a silent book club, where you arrive in the first 30 minutes or just chit-chatting, and then you read all for an hour separately, whatever book you brought. And that was actually great. After Friday's fail, I was a little concerned about going to another event, and I knew I wanted to. I found this was the first event I found when I was in a low point like weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and looking for Facebook groups and Facebook events. And this was the first one I found. So it's been on my calendar forever. And I was starting to get, the anxious thoughts right beforehand. And it turned out to be lovely. Walked in, there wasn't a seat. Then one person was like, oh, hey, pull up a chair. And so I grabbed a chair, pulled it up, and just got to chat with people because it was the setting to do so. Other people have lived not from the area. Someone's from Virginia, someone's from Chicago, lived in Ohio, Arizona. And it's just it was great. It was great to just chat with a couple people and then sit for an hour and do a shared activity, not even having to socialize. So that was great. And something funny too is we talked about Hawaii a little bit at the beginning of the book club thing. And Hawaii is such a popular destination for people here in the Pacific Northwest. I said it is closer than if you're flying from a different part of the country, but it's just so interesting. It was like, oh yeah, my Hawaii trip, and I'm like, what? And honestly, someone said at the book club that the flight to Hawaii may be only 5 hours, and the flight to Dallas is 4. So like, what? Should I be going to Hawaii instead? Like, hey family, see you at Hawaii. But anyways, so it was great. It was a success. And today I'll probably go on a little stroll and I'll do some more diamond painting. Evan and I are gonna finish up on some of the Yellowstone thing. We're finishing up season 4. So it's rocking and rolling here. And my producer told me that my background should be better. So I hope you enjoyed the new background. Who knows if I'll be here next week or if you'll have a different scene, but hello, tell the producer in the comments, the shout out to the producer, that you like the new background. Anyways, thanks for the Yap Sesh Yappers. I will see you next time. Bye.